Good evening. Tonight, the football world was stunned by the shock news that after only 7 weeks in the job, Bryan Clough has been sacked as manager of Leeds United. It's been claimed that the footballers passed a vote of no confidence in him, and certainly today, the board took the shock decision that Clough must go. Tonight, on this live calendar special, we're talking not only to Bryan Clough himself, but also to the man that he succeeded as manager of Britain's most successful football team, to Don Reevie, the England manager. But Bryan Clough, first of all. Bryan, what's your reaction to being booted out in this fashion?
Oh, it's a very sad reaction. Obviously, to be sacked, as you profoundly put it, and the only way you could put it, is a very sad one. It's a very sad one for me personally, and I also believe a very sad one from Leeds Football Club's angle and from the Leeds City.
Do you feel that you were given a chance in the job?
Well, 7 weeks is hardly a long time to be given a chance in any job. I would hope that Mr. Reevie would get a lot longer time in his job.
Well, you began with very high hopes. We talked on a programme here only a few weeks back. When did you first realise that it wasn't going to work out?
Oh, I didn't realise it at all. I was always convinced, right up until tonight, that it was going to work out. It was inevitable. To replace the best manager on record, or by record, in the Football League, then obviously Leeds had to get somebody that was, you know, slightly special. I don't want to be blasé conceited, but I'm not sure who they could have got to improved on his record.
You were the best man for the job, you thought?
I believed I was, and obviously the Leeds board did.
Well, why didn't it work out? What was the main single thing that went wrong?
Results. In 7 weeks, you know, there is not a lot of time to become established. When you've taken over a job of a man that's been there 10, 15 years, and he's been regarded as the kingpin, as the father figure, as the man that made everything tick, then within 7 weeks, it is impossible, utterly impossible, to replace that type of thing. If the results had gone a bit better, then obviously it would have been easier. But due to circumstances, due to the fact that were inherited suspensions, and little Billy was sent off and banned for a long time, and Paul Madeley's injury and that type of thing, you know, the results weren't as good as should have been.
OK, well, let's turn to Don Reevie. Do you consider that it was in fact possible to step into your shoes, to replace you?
Being very, very honest, I think it was a very difficult job for anybody to do. But I do feel that the players at Leeds United that won the championship last year to possibly go on and do things this year.
Well, was Bryan Clough the man that you would have picked to succeed you?
Austin, don't start jumping the gun. You ask me a question, I'm going to answer it. I think the players were there to do the job. Now, whether after 6 matches they're going to be judged on 6 matches, I don't know. But all I can say is that I was with these players, most of them, for 10, 11 years. I was manager for 13 and a half, and I basically think that they're good enough to win a trophy this season. Last season, we had an awful lot of injuries and suspensions, and we played without 4 and 5 and 6 players right from the very first match. I knew the players. Clough, as he calls me, Reevie, didn't know them. And I knew how to handle them and how to juggle them about, and he didn't have time to do that. But the players are there, and they're dedicated professionals, and I had no trouble with them for 13 and a half years.
Well, in saying that the team was good enough, you're making an implied criticism of Bryan Clough. Do you think Bryan Clough was the man for the job?
That is entirely Leeds United's director's opinion.
What's your personal opinion?
My personal opinion, as I stated at the time, before Bryan took the job, I won't call him Clough because I wouldn't take him down like that, because I think it's a sad night for anybody to get the sack as a manager in any football, in any job. Nobody likes to see this happening in football at all. I openly stated, before anybody took the job, when I took the England job, that I felt that Johnny Giles was the man for the job. Only because he knew our system, he knew how I worked, he knew how the staff worked, he knew how the players reacted to things. He knew everything, because he travelled all over Europe with us, he played in matches, a great player, a great thinker of the game, and I recommended him to Leeds because...
But if I can interrupt there, does that mean that he was going to carry on in the Reevie tradition, that he was going to be a manager much as you've been?
No, I felt, well, Tottenham must feel that because they've taken Terry Neal, but he was in an interview for the last 2 or 3 for the job at Tottenham. Now, I've never talked to Bill Nick about him. But Johnny Giles, I felt, he's proved it with Era. He went to Brazil with them and did well. He played in South America, he's done well with the Era team. I only passed a personal opinion. Whether the Leeds United directors wanted to take it or not was entirely up to the Leeds United directors. I could only recommend him for the job. They didn't take him. They went for Bryan. So I can't do any more than that.
Well, what, in effect, I read in that is that you weren't the right man to step into this legacy that Don Reevie had left at Leeds.
No, Austin. No. You were totally out of order there. What you take out of that is totally untrue. What I said, that I recommended Johnny Giles for the job before anybody else was recommended at all. Before anybody's name was mentioned, I recommended Johnny Giles for Leeds United's job.
Well, apart from your own respect for your own abilities, Bryan Clough, would you say that you were the right man to step into the kind of legacy Don Reevie had left?
That's a very difficult question. It's like saying, you know, if religion goes out of our way of life, who takes over
But it's
from
saying
religion?
that your style is very different from his style.
My
And to players
style-
used to Don Reevie's style, it might have been upsetting.
My style's not different at all in the sense that I wanted success and I believed I could deliver it, and my methods, 99% or 90% the same as Mr. Reevie's. My style was exactly the same. Management is 90% right throughout the country, irrespective of who the manager is. It's the extra 10% that's the special bit.
But look, over the years, Leeds United have been run almost like a family, like sons of Don Reevie. Now, didn't you, in fact, go in and upset them, unsettle them, by going in for a big buying policy?
Well, a big buying policy, I'm not sure. What I did was I bought a wing half to replace Eddie Gray, who there's grave doubts about his future. I was informed when I took over Leeds that Mick Jones could possibly not be fit for the rest of the season, at the very earliest, February or March. So I bought a reserve centre-forward in John O'Hare, and all of Leeds know he is a very talented player. Now, what I also did was I tried to provide a little bit of striking power added to Leeds' machine, as I once called Don's team. He wasn't very happy with it, but it was a machine, superbly machine, and a superbly oiled one, but it was a machine. And I added Duncan McKenzie to it because I knew up front we were a little bit thin with Peter Lorimer, Joe Jordan and Alan Clark. So the fact of big buying wasn't big buying in the sense...
You don't think it was unsettling for the players?
Oh, it could have been slightly upsetting because they've been there so long. And one or two of them are getting on to 32, 33, possibly even 34.
OK, well, Don Reevie, would you have gone in for this kind of buying? Or would you have worked it in more cautiously?
Well, first of all, let me answer Brian's question about them getting old and about injuries and one thing and another. As I said already, we had this all last season. But what you must remember is this, that team was written off by the press and television in 70, when we missed three tournaments, in 71, in 72, and in 73, when we lost against Sunderland and AC Milan, they all said, that's it. They're finished, they're over the hill, they're too old, and this, that and the other. And last season, with all these injuries and all these suspensions to Alan Clark and Norman and all these people, we only lost 4 matches out of 42 and won the championship. And there went 29 matches from the beginning of the season without defeat.
Well, are you saying in that Bryan Clough's
No.
buying was not necessary?
No. Austin, will you
Hang
just
on.
please
That
give me a
was
chance?
incredible.
Will you
What
just
the man
please?
said-
OK, well,
was incredible.
let him finish.
Right?
Yes.
Now then, if Brian felt after 3 months, I would have given them personally 3 months to settle down and play as they're capable of playing.
Don, even with Billy's eight-match suspension?
Yes, I'd have had Terry Yorth, I'd have had Mick Bates, I'd have had Joe Jordan, I'd have had Frankie Gray. He had 4
No.
very well-classed players there in the making.
No,
who
Frankie
I
Gray.
juggled about last year.
Yeah.
Frankie Gray, whether you think Frankie Gray's a good player or not.
Well, world class, you said. Frankie Gray.
Well, I think world-class. If he got the chance, Brian, I think he could be world-class.
Yes.
And I think that I played Terry Yorth up front. This is what I'm saying. You didn't get the chance to see them. I knew them. I played Terry Yorth up front alongside Joe Jordan. I played Terry Yorth midfield. I played him at full-back. I played him at sweeper. I played Mick Bates up front. I played Frankie Gray up front at outside left. Now, these players I felt should have had a chance.
Yes.
Possibly,
Don, where didn't they get a chance? Terry had...
No.
Terry had a tummy bug, enteritis, I think they call it, and he was out. He was in bed for 10 days.
Yeah, but you still had Mick Bates and Joe Jordan and Frankie Gray who didn't play at all, Brian. And the
Who?
thing is, Mick Bates,
Yes, I'm sorry.
Terry Yorth and Frankie Gray.
Yeah.
Now, I feel that the unsettling part came when he didn't give these lads a chance, and quite rightly, a manager's got to stand and fall by his decisions.
Oh, yes.
Every time, whether he's going to buy, whether he's going to have team selection, what he's going to have, he's got to stand and fall by what he says and what he does. And Brian decided to go in the market. Whether it was unsettling to the players, I don't know.
Well, the question then arises, was Bryan Clough allowed to stand or fall by his decisions? Was he given time to carry through his policies? Was he given the backing that he needed from the team to do what he wanted?
I would prefer you to say the board of directors to that, because the team don't dictate that much. The team can have a vote of confidence or that type of thing. The team are the be-all and end-all regarding the results on the field.
Well,
Regarding the confidence, it's essential to have the confidence, but the men who make the decisions are directors in football.
Well, let's start with the team first of all.
Well,
because are you sure that that team was playing its best for you?
Oh, I'm absolutely certain.
With results like that?
Oh, results like that, of course they were playing their best. They couldn't do anything else. It was second nature to them.
Thank you. Let me ask you a question. How long have you lived in Leeds?
5 years.
5 years.
And I've never seen such a disastrous start to the season.
But have you ever seen a Leeds United team ever, and the present team and starting off of this season, ever not try? They might have bad times, they might miss open goals, but never ever you accuse or insinuate that a Leeds United side never tried. Because there's never a player going out on that pitch with a white shirt on that's never tried. They might have a bad game, they might miss open goals, they might do bad things, but never not try.
OK, well, I accept that, but there have been claims that there was, in fact, a vote of no confidence or something amounting to that passed by the players. Is that in fact correct?
That is absolutely correct.
Well, how did you react to that?
Oh, I wanted to be sick. Oh, I wanted to be sick. If you had a vote of no confidence with the people you work with, that I would assume you would react exactly the same. I felt sick.
What was the main reason for it, do you think?
I don't know what the main reason was. I think, the fact that I didn't have time to get to know them and this type of thing. I do believe, honestly, that whoever had walked in would have had the same thing. Plus the fact that all the other incidentals went against us, i.e. results and that type of thing, which I've already pointed out are the main thing.
Well, let's stay with this point of the vote of no confidence. How do you react to players, in effect, passing a vote of no confidence in the manager after such a short period?
I honestly feel, knowing Leeds United players, as long as I've known them, they must have had a very good reason to do that. No respect to Bryan, I must feel and say what I feel about Leeds United players. They must have had a very good reason to do that. Why? I don't know. I had enough problems on my hand with the England job.
Well, whatever the reasons, do you condone players acting in that kind of fashion? Doesn't it make a manager's job impossible?
No, I do not condone players at all doing that in any club, because I think it's totally wrong, and I think directors are long to listen to it. But I can't understand why the Leeds United players, if Bryan's true what he's saying, if they voted a no confidence vote in you, Bryan.
Not exactly a vote, but the feeling was there, yes. No, a vote's a very strong word, but the feeling was definitely there.
Well, how far was that kind of feeling there? Because, in a sense, you've been critical of Don Reevie himself. We had a programme here a few weeks back on which you were implicitly critical of Don Reevie. You said the contracts unsigned. Now, is that the right kind of line to take to a man stepping into the shoes of a revered manager?
Now, if you're asking me now, did I make mistakes? The answer is yes. I am not infallible. I definitely made mistakes. Having said that, when you say that I criticised Don Reevie about unsigned contracts, I stated a fact that there were, when I took over, 11 contracts not signed. Now, if it was Don's fault, if it was the chairman's fault, if it was the player's fault, that's immaterial for this particular argument. There were 11 contracts not signed. That is fact.
Well, Don Reevie, you saw that programme and the accusation. What was your reaction to it?
Yes, and Austin, I phoned up that night.
Yes.
And asked you if I could face Bryan the following night, and I got no reply. Talking about the 11 contracts that were unsigned, all contracts were basically agreed in the minutes with the directors of what each player was going to get. Bryan is possibly right, the contracts weren't signed, not by 11, I would say by 5 or 6. And all these things were agreed in the minutes. And why they weren't carried out and signed and sent off by the secretary, I will never know.
Well,
now, on that same programme, Bryan said that there was no warmth in the club. Now, that really shook me.
Did I say no warmth?
You said no warmth in Leeds United. Now, that was the closest thing that any relationship between players and manager and staff have ever had.
Did I say no warmth between me and them, or no warmth in the club?
You said no warmth in the club, Bryan.
I don't remember. If I did say it, then obviously the warmth that you generated between you and the players, that can't be taken away.
Never.
That's ridiculous.
Never ever.
Can't be taken away.
Well, as an experienced
Just a
manager,
second.
Don Reevie, what do you think was wrong with Bryan Clough's approach to Leeds as a manager?
Now that's asking for me to do something that I know nothing at all about. I've known Bryan a long time. What his approach is as a manager, I've never played under him. I've never worked under him. That is impossible for me to answer.
You see, you have different styles as managers, and it's generally believed, I don't know with what accuracy, that you don't get on particularly well. Now, why is that, Bryan Clough?
Well, when I was a manager of Derby County and I was in direct conflict with Don Reevie and his Leeds side, it's natural I didn't get on with him because invariably they were above us. That's the flippant answer. Having said that, I believe in a different concept of football to Don. I think. I believe that it can be played slightly different to the way Don plays it and get the same results. Now that might mean, you know, aiming for utopia, and it might mean being a little bit stupid, but that is the way I am. I'm a little bit stupid regarding this type of thing. I'm a little bit of an idealist. I do believe in fairies, and that is my, you know, outlook. Now, Don's slightly different. And his record proves, over results, that he perhaps is right. But having said that, I want to be like me.
Well,
Don
Reevie,
obviously wants to be like him.
Is this question of style the reason why the two of you don't get on?
Well, I don't know. I think that, truthfully, Bryan is a fool to himself. I must be very, very honest here. I honestly feel that he's criticised Matt Busby, Bertie me personally, Norman Hunter, Peter Lorimer, Billy Bremner, Peter Storey. He's criticised so many people in the game whose records stand to be seen. He's criticised so many people. This is his style. If he wants to be that style, fair enough. But I think that is totally, totally wrong for the game of professional football. He says about honesty and things like this. But when you talk about honesty, if honesty is going to destroy the game, then you're in all kinds of trouble. I think you're doing the game a great disservice.
Yes, I would.
In other words, the accusation is that you're too ready to shoot your mouth off about
So now when you talk about...
I would agree
let me answer
completely.
his question first. Let me answer his question first. He talked about winning the championships better or differently. Our record is there to be seen for 11 years.
Yes.
Right? The first 4 to 5 years, I've always said this, we played for results. The last 4 to 5 years, we've been the most entertaining side by crowd entertainment and topping charts with national newspapers and television.
Also, Don, the disciplinary chart.
The disciplinary chart,
You topped that.
we topped that once.
Well, you topped it for the last 2 or 3 years.
No, that's not true. It wasn't 100% right, I will agree.
Sorry.
It wasn't 100% right, discipline on the field, and last year we straightened it out.
Well, it was. You were
Yeah.
the top.
Yeah. But when you see, Bryan, when you talk about coming to take the Leeds job and you had all these things and all these worries about stepping in my shoes and one thing and another.
Which I had.
Yes, you had. But why? Why did you come from Brighton to Leeds to take it over when you'd criticised them so much and said we should be in the second division for this and we should do this and we should do that? Why do you take the job?
No, because I thought it was the best job in the country.
Of course it was the best job in
I
the
was
country.
taking over the league champions.
Yeah, you were taking over the Leeds champion. You were taking over the best bunch of players that you've ever seen.
Well,
and you'll
I didn't know about the players, Don.
You didn't know?
I didn't know them intimately like you do. But I know you were the league champions, and I was taking over the league champions. I wanted to have a crack at the European Cup this year.
Yes.
I think that was near and dear to your heart also.
Yes.
I wanted to win it. I wanted to do something you hadn't done. Now, when I think I said it to Trevor Cherry actually, or mostly the players, he said to me, what can you do that the boss hadn't done? You, the boss, referring to you. And I said, I want to win the league, but I want to win it better. Now, there is no other reply to that question.
No, but
because you had won the league.
Yeah, but there's no way you could win it better.
Why
Yes,
not?
No.
But that's the only hope I've got.
We'd only lost 4 matches. And
But I can only lose 3.
No.
I couldn't give any other answer. And I
No.
wanted to win the European Cup. I believe that it
Well-
was just a fraction, Don. A fraction. I don't know this because I've not spoken to you. But I believe it was a fraction whether you took the England job or had another shot at the European Cup.
That is totally true, because I was so involved with the players and everybody at Ellen
Good
Road.
lad. Now, I wanted to do that, and I want to do it better than you. You can understand that, can't you?
Yes, and I think if
Good
you'd
lad.
said that to our players, then you would have got the message across.
I couldn't say that to our players, as you say. I couldn't say that to our players just as a bold statement. You see, when I went in there was friction. There was unhappiness.
Friction? What do you mean friction?
There was unhappiness because you'd gone an unsigned contract.
No. But when you walked
Hey,
in,
Don.
when you walked in, tell me
Don.
this, when you walked in, did you have a meeting the first day with them?
No,
Why?
because I didn't think it was necessary to have a meeting the very first day.
So you were taking over as manager of a new
Yeah.
club,
Yes?
and you don't call all your players and your coaching staff and your office staff together
No.
and introduce yourself and meet them and tell them exactly what you feel and what you want to try and do.
Don, the first day I walked in, I came back from holiday and I did 2 hours training with them.
Irrespective of what you do,
I went out
feel-
on the field with
right,
them.
Right, you went out on the field. My immediate reaction to any job, the same at the Football Association, I got 70 people together and went to a cocktail party and I introduced myself
That
to them.
is your way.
And I talked, but I talked about
That is your
Ramsey's
way.
record. I talked how great Ramsey was.
Yes?
His record as a professional man. I never got close to Ramsey. He was a cold man. But as a
I
professional
think you
man,
are.
as a cold man,
Yes.
oh, don't ask how players that.
But that-
Or they'll laugh their socks down.
Well, that's it. That's opinion.
No, well, that's opinion. But Alf Ramsey, I thought did a good job. And I
Yes.
thought it was important to me
Yes.
to introduce myself to everybody in the Football Association offices.
You
And I
didn't.
thought it was your duty, when you
Don.
walked into Leeds United's ground,
Don.
everybody's saying, well, Bryan Clough's arriving today,
Yes.
we'd love to
But
meet
you didn't have a training
How long did you wait
session.
then? No. How long
You
did you
didn't
wait?
have a-
Irrespective of training sessions or anything,
The
Brian,
85
training sessions didn't mean anything your first day.
Why?
How could training sessions overcome meeting everybody in the club?
It couldn't
It would have
overcome
taken you
it.
10 minutes to
It
get
couldn't-
everybody together as a group and say, I'm pleased to meet you. I'm pleased to come to the club
I
like this.
walked into the dressing room and shook hands with Billy Bremner the
But
very
did you?
first
No,
second
Brian.
I
No,
walked in.
Brian.
No,
don't,
hang on, I
don't,
did.
No, don't edge. Why
edging.
didn't you get everybody together?
Because I didn't think it was necessary.
Why?
Because I thought that I would do it more subtly and different instead of having everybody bang, bang, bang. They were all on edge. I was on
Naturally.
edge.
So you could have put them at ease.
No, hang on. How?
By going in and talking to them.
Oh, talk to them. I took the shirts off the backs after they'd finished training.
I used to do that. I massaged them on a Thursday
Of course. Well, that was my approach, of course.
morning. But you didn't meet everybody the first day.
I shook hands and said hello. Met them.
Everybody? Did you go to the laundry ladies? Did
Oh,
you
no.
go to the office staff?
Oh, no. I'm sorry.
Did you go to the
Specific-
groundsman?
No, I didn't have time to do that, Don. It was players.
You must have had. It
I
only, takes,
shook-
it only
I have
takes
to
10
interrupt
minutes.
here because we're getting towards the end. I want to ask, what's your reaction to a board that doesn't back you up, that sacks you after 7 weeks?
I haven't had time to know them either. Just as I believe I haven't had time to do the job.
What's your reaction to the board?
My reaction to the board is very, very mixed. And my reaction to the board is so mixed up. I don't believe they've done Leeds Football Club a service. I don't care whether it's me or whoever it was. I'm talking about a manager. I don't believe they've done football a service. I think they've struck a blow to send us back, back in the dark ages. I think if the Football Association, who employ Mr. Reevie, sack him if he loses his first match, I think they will set football back 30 years or 50 years. In turn, I believe that Leeds perhaps have done that a little bit also. Manny Cousins was under a lot of pressure. He was my chairman. If he didn't stand up to it as much as he should have done, that's a matter of debate. But he was under a lot of pressure. And he, today, when the final decision was made, and it was a board decision, he then made it right with me regarding a lot of things. As he made it right with this guy
before you go on, Bryan
for
Clough,
15 years.
What's going to happen now to Bryan Clough?
Oh, a million things are going to happen to Bryan Clough. I'm going to have 48 hours or 3 days, or I don't know. I think, and please don't think I'm being flippant. I've had many ambitions in life, and one of the ambitions is, and I wanted this when I was manager of Leeds and manager of Derby, I wanted to coach the England youth. I just might apply to this guy.
Well, aren't you going to be in a very difficult situation? Because after the argument with Derby, you left Brighton under a cloud, and now this with Leeds. Who's going to touch you with a barge pole, as it were?
Well, I think many people have touched me with a barge pole because the whole country now, including Leeds, and you've heard it in Don's own mouth tonight, I do not think 7 weeks. 7 weeks is not enough time to even find out where the local butcher shop is.
Okay, well, what happens to Leeds United now? What do you see as being their future?
Well, obviously they'll prosper. I hope they'll prosper. Despite the fact I've only been involved with them 7 weeks, you've got to hope they prosper. I hope everybody in football prospers. I hope they go on to win the European Cup.
Don Reevie, what's your feeling about Bryan Clough's personal position
You are
tonight?
a terrible
How do you
man
feel for him?
for interrupting that.
Well,
I
we're
hope
coming to the end, and I
Leeds
have to interrupt.
win
Sorry.
the European Cup.
What's your feeling personally about Bryan Clough's personal situation?
Well, naturally, anybody who's been sacked in football, you feel a little bit sad for. But whether Brian's going about it the right way, I don't know because I wasn't there. But if Leeds United players have had a meeting with Bryan and the chairman, there must have been something totally wrong.
OK, well, gentlemen, there we must leave it after what's been a tragic day for Leeds United supporters, of which I number myself one. Gentlemen, thank you very much and good night.